Jill and I are both at our parents' houses, and we've been doing these podcasts, and the landlines keep ringing during our pod, which is so funny because it's like, who has a landline anymore?
Who
but
have
like
landlines?
parents have
Yes.
landlines. So
And like we had Don Garber, the commissioner, on a few weeks ago, and I literally had to be like, go outside, here's beer, and like I had to like lock them out of their own house because I like couldn't even chance that like they asked me to like do something.
Instructions.
I feel like I'm 18 again.
What's up, everybody? Welcome on into the Call Up. I'm Susannah Collins, joined by my gal, looking fresh and lovely in yellow today. You look summery.
Right back at
and
you,
glowing.
sister.
Jill, we have such an incredible show today. You guys are not going to believe who joined us. We have World Cup champion Crystal Dunn. She keeps it so real. She's going to tell us all about what life is like in the bubble in Utah.
Get ready, MLS.
NWSL tournament kicked off this past weekend. We're going to talk about to kneel or not to kneel, what that all means, her stance on the national anthem. We get through a lot of stuff, and most importantly, we're gonna do some digging on that epic party, the celebration that happened after they won the World Cup, because Jill and I have been dying to know the details. So we've got some great stuff with Crystal on this show, Jill.
It was perhaps my highlight of 2020 so far.
I mean, listen,
and by no comparison of how horrible 2020 has been.
This would have been a highlight in any year, in like even last year. This would have been one of our.
So I'll put it this way:
ever.
Major fangirl career moment having Crystal Dunn, and like I kind of felt like we were girls, like the three of us, like we were just chatting, like on our Zoom because we wanted to catch up.
I know,
and like, oh hey Crystal, and like we were keeping it cash and cool, and meanwhile, like inside, I was like.
Oh no, I was straight up freaking out.
Loser
like just like
status. I was even like at one point I looked and I'm like, I'm talking to Crystal Dunn. And I started to get teary-eyed and I'm like, can you get a life, please?
Get it under control. I know. She really is. Well, she's incredible. She's absolutely incredible for so many reasons. So
she deserves the tears. The Jillian Sakovitz tears, I suppose.
100%. It was it's been a busy week. And
can I congratulate you real quick before we get to business?
Oh, well, of course. On what? What might you be talking about?
That you are basically a champion of England.
Thank you.
There you go.
I've been waiting. Yeah. I've been waiting for somebody to give me my due here. You guys, Liverpool, at long last, finally won the Premier League title. As a long-suffering Liverpool fan,
you have suffered so much recently there, Suze.
Listen, there were some rough years, but this was very, very exciting. And you know what, Jill? The thing that was really struck me was that like there was a moment where I felt guilty about being so happy about something. And then I was like, no, you know what? Like, we need these moments. We need these moments of happiness and joy and levity to give us more perspective and to kind of bring us out of some of the darker moments that we've all been experiencing. And so I was like, you know what? I'm gonna allow myself this day to just really, really enjoy it. But it did feel good. It felt good to feel good, if that makes sense.
It certainly does. And you know what, MLS fans? You should get ready for a little bit more of that.
So speaking of feeling good, Jill, it's time for Here for This, because we've got a few things that we can feel good about. One of which, we have players arriving in the bubble in Orlando because the MLS back tournament kicks off next week. It is so close, Jill. It's so close. And watching these guys get off the bus with their masks, walking into the bubble, it's just
guitars, PlayStations, they got it all.
They do. They came well prepared, man. I mean, they got to kill time somehow, right?
Dallas, San Jose, Columbus, Orlando, Minnesota, Cincinnati are just a few of the teams so far that are in the building. So that is a big positive. And during this time, guys, during quarantine, as probably you've noticed, we've been keeping it light and positive and trying not to, they're trying not to knock people down. But you know what? Soccer's back, which we saw this weekend with the NWSL. And that's why obviously we have Crystal Dunn on. And the World Cup was announced for 2023. The women are going to be playing in Australia and New Zealand. So, Suze, I've never been. I hope you're ready to go because we're covering it.
We're basically,
I don't know
I think you and I mean, I'm hoping that by that time, all of this, this global pandemic is a thing of the past and it's all behind us. But I'm pretty sure we could find a place to set up a little call-up studio in Australia or New Zealand, right?
Sydney Opera House, maybe?
I mean, that seems like a lovely backdrop to me.
So there's all the positives. But you know what? Because soccer's back, we're going to get shady again. Get back to our kind of normal selves a little bit with just throwing some shade in there for this. So, Suze, I want your take on this.
Okay. Ooh, I'm excited.
Coming back to MLS is Andy Najar of LAFC. And he's already kind of pouring a little gasoline on the El Tráfico fire, the El Tráfico that's going to come to Orlando. So he was asked in a Facebook Live about Chicharito.
Mm-hmm.
And he said, quote, "I have Vela on my side, the best player in the league. I'm not worried about Chicharito." Are we here for that?
Okay. I mean, I'm always here for like a little like fun, like banter, exactly. Like you said, throwing gas on the fire. But here's the thing, Jill. That's cute. That's very cute of Andy to say because you know what? Sorry to say it. I had to Google you to find out who you are. I don't have to Google Chicharito. Pretty sure most people know who Chicharito is. So
pour some water on those flames, Susannah Collins. I am here for you being back in action, my friend.
Let's go. Let's bring it back. Let's get feisty. Soccer's back, baby.
We are so excited to bring in national treasure Crystal Dunn, World Cup champion, member of the U.S. Women's National Team, and the North Carolina Courage. I think we're going to have to start to get used to hotel room shots on this podcast, Crystal. Because the NWSL, we are all for it. The NWSL has camped out in their bubble in Utah, and we're going to get right into it. The MLS's back tournament heads to their own bubble in Orlando, and that's going to kick off in about a week. So before we get into a historic weekend and your career, we just really want to know, what is life like so far in the bubble? And you can be honest, the positives, the negatives.
Yeah, what's good, what's bad.
What's up in the bubble?
The positive is everyone's healthy. We've gotten 2 tests now, and I was very nervous about obviously the travel in, and I was like, oh my goodness, that would be terrible if people get it kind of on the initial trip into Utah. But those tests came back negative. We got our second round of testing yesterday, and those came back today, and everyone's negative. So I would say the bubble, the most positive thing about it is everyone's healthy and everyone's in good spirits. It is going to be very challenging, though, to be here because you can't go anywhere. You really have to put your health and safety above all. So, the little bit of freedom you might have had in your own market is completely gone. And we only had a little bit of freedom. So it was like going to the grocery store and to Target. That was my bit of freedom in North Carolina. And we can't do those things. So I think for a long month, it's going to be, you're stuck inside, and that's going to be challenging. But again, I think everyone's health is most important. So whatever you have to do to stay healthy and keep everyone's health in top priority is important.
Crystal, we've seen some of the MLS guys starting to arrive in their Orlando bubble, and a lot of them are bringing like their PlayStations. They've got their video games. What have you brought anything with you to kind of occupy your time in some of those down moments when you're not training, when you're not playing? How are you going to keep yourself busy?
I mean, honestly, as long as I have Netflix, I'm like so easy. So for me, it was like, bring your iPad, bring your computer, Netflix all day and chill. Actually, the league has put ping pong tables, some games outside. So we're not stuck with nothing to do.
Oh, that's nice.
We do have some games. Some people have like their Game Boys and things like that. So we're pretty much similar to the men where we're like, yeah, we're here for a month. I'm bringing everything that I need in order to survive.
Is there a pool?
There's an indoor pool, yes. I
Okay.
wish it were outside. I'm like, I need to be like
Yes.
backstroking in the sun, but
Right.
I mean, it's indoor, but that's okay. It's mostly for recovery. No one's here feeling like they're on true vacation.
Right. When I think of you and I think of a pool, I think of Susannah and I stalking Instagram about a year ago and being like, oh, do you see the pool party that the women are at for but
Yes,
little different pool activities
different.
than this time last year. Crystal, let me ask you, unlike MLS, the NWSL had given the players the option to sit this one out. Megan Rapinoe, Carly Lloyd with her injury, Alex Morgan obviously on maternity leave. You are one of the bigger names in Utah right now at the tournament. Did you have any hesitations about going to this?
Oh yeah, I mean a lot. I think 3 months ago I was in a completely different place. I was at home in Portland with my husband, living a very comfortable life in, quarantine. So I was like, well, I can get used to this. If the governors don't want us to leave, I'm good with that. And then the league brings up the tournament idea to us, and I couldn't get on board initially. I think I was very terrified of COVID. I was like, the cases are rising, the death tolls are rising, and you want us to go out and play. And I had no idea what the protocols were or what it was going to look like. But I think the more time went on, the more I was in more conversations with people, I did realize that it is a risk. There's no way of actually saying if you do all these things right, you will not get COVID, because that is simply not true. But I do think, I put my trust in myself and my teammates and obviously all the teams in the league. And it was very hard to do. But, other than Orlando, I think no one in the markets have tested positive. And that was really hopeful for me to go 5 weeks without one person on these teams getting the virus. So I think it's a work in progress. One day I'm like, great, life is awesome. And then one day I could be like, dang, this thing is still alive and it's still, really affecting the world. And I just think it's moment by moment. I lean on kind of some players to just chat things through. But, I'm here, I'm healthy. Everyone's here and healthy. And I think that that's very hopeful.
Amen. Amen to that. Crystal, you brought up Orlando and obviously the unfortunate situation with their team, several players testing positive. So they were unable to make the trip. They won't be participating in the tournament. What was your initial reaction when you heard that news? How did that make you feel?
Very nervous. Me and I think all the players in the league, once we heard that there was a positive case, we were like, whoa, we were all so hopeful and positive, and now someone has gotten the virus, and I think it really changed how everyone viewed safety and all the protocols that were put in place. With that being said, they got all these cases like 2 days, 3 days before we were intending to leave. So it was a very difficult time. I think no one really felt comfortable being like, all right, guys, I went through preseason and now I'm leaving, like good luck in the tournament. So I think the timing was really difficult for people to truly feel like, I'm going to step away and not go through with the tournament. I chatted with a lot of people, and I do think, I don't know the true story of Orlando, but I think that things might have gone on where people kind of put health at risk and the health of everyone else at risk. So I just think my teammates have done a very good job of being true professionals and, just really taking these protocols really seriously, because you're at the mercy of everybody, not just your teammates, but all the players in the league. So, it was unfortunate about Orlando, but I think moving forward, I think everyone has really just buckled in and been like, listen, it's 1 month, everyone do the right thing, do everything that you need to do in order to keep everyone healthy and safe.
Ali Krieger put out a really heartfelt message over the weekend where she mentioned, so many of us were willing to sacrifice so much. It takes sacrifice from everyone. You look at Sydney Leroux, who was going to leave her 2 kids and miss her baby girl's first birthday. People traveling across the world. Did you have any conversations with them to try to soothe these people that, are devastated about not being there?
Yeah, definitely. I think I gave them the right amount of space to kind of cope with the situation initially. And then I think I reached out to them just to let them know that, I'm here if they need me. And obviously what they're going through is so disappointing. Again, like you mentioned, Sid, just working her way back and being ready for this tournament, and it was going to mean so much to her and so many players. I mean, the rookies that this would have been their first career games that they would have played in. I think my heart really hurts for them, but at the end of the day, I do think that it's a 1 month long tournament, and you kind of can look at it as you're just missing a month of soccer, and it's unfortunate because these are pretty much the only games of 2020. But I think everyone knows in the long run, health is the most important thing. And it was impossible for them to join us in this tournament, and they knew they would have been putting everyone else at risk. And I think deep down they know that the right decision was made, but of course the disappointing feeling is still there.
Minus Ali Krieger's note at the end of that message that said, beat North Carolina.
Don't even get me started.
Right?
I was like, I was reading it, I was like, this is awesome. And then she says, beat North Carolina. I was like, I can't get on board with this.
No. All right. Well, let's talk about the soccer, because the North Carolina Courage played the Portland Thorns in the first game of this tournament. I mean, you guys brought sports back to North America
on national TV,
on national television. I mean, I'm getting goosebumps just talking about it. It was so amazing watching you guys play, especially under these weird circumstances. Can you describe your emotions leading up to the game and how you felt when you heard that whistle and you're off?
Yeah, I mean, I felt like a little kid again. I was like so nervous. I think the anticipation was for so long. The whole preseason, you're thinking, we're bringing sports back. I want to play well. I want to represent myself and my team really well on game one. And I think when the whistle blew, it was the butterflies again. And I rarely get nervous, I would say, for a lot of games. I think I'm pretty cool, calm, collective for the most part. But I was very nervous, but I think that means you care. And I think the rest of my team felt the same way. And we were really excited to be back playing with each other, playing and competing against other teams. I was so sick of chasing my teammates around all preseason. So it was nice to chase some other people around. But no, it was an incredible feeling. I think everyone who made the trip to Utah knows that, obviously, with everything going on in the world, sports is a comforting way for the world to kind of gain normality again. So it was just nice to be a part of that.
Something that all eyes were going to be on for maybe people who don't know soccer, don't know women's soccer, was the idea of taking a knee and what was going to happen. Was there going to be a national anthem? How were players going to react to that? The NWSL, I mean, yeah, goosebumps again. And we saw everyone with the Black Lives Matter warm-up T-shirts. We saw all the starters in your game take a knee. We saw a message from the Thorns and the Courage about having solidarity in that. How did those conversations come about? What was your own emotions going into that? And how do you handle now some taking a knee and some not taking a knee?
Yeah, I mean, it's been weeks of conversations. I think after George Floyd's death, my team got together and we just started having conversations, just letting people know where we stand, how we feel. People can ask questions. And I think that's the most important thing, is encouraging people to want to learn and ask questions and be educated on matters that they might not have known about before. So I think coming into this tournament, we always knew we're bringing sports back. We're back to be on national TV again. This is a huge platform for us to focus on sports, but also send another message, a more powerful message about all the social and racial injustices that are going on. So we talked together as a team, North Carolina Courage, and then we also reached out to Portland to see how they felt on the matter. And to our surprise, Portland was like, we're kneeling. We want to kneel. And we were like, that's awesome. We want to kneel too. And it would be such an incredible feeling for both teams to have that important imagery, So I really think that I'm happy that all starters were able to kneel and feel comfortable kneeling. Because again, this really comes down to what you truly believe and how you feel. I know it is an uncomfortable situation for many people, but I think sometimes you have to do the uncomfortable things in order to make the biggest impact. So I'm really just grateful that my teammates supported the Black Lives Matter movement, and we can all have the same message and spread this to the world.
It was such a powerful image to see, and one that is just so incredibly important, especially right now. And it's generated this conversation about the national anthem. and what it means to people. And is it even necessary to play ahead of sporting events? What is your take on the national anthem? Is that part of the game that you think we should continue? Or do you think that maybe, you know what, it means something to something different to so many different people? Maybe it's time we just eliminate it.
Yeah, there were reports that some women didn't want it played, to skip it.
I think, to be honest, I want the national anthem played. I think there's only conversations about it not being played because of the protests. And I think if no one protested and no one was kneeling, this would never be a conversation. So I do think it's a way for people to say, well, it's causing a lot of, conversations and distractions. So maybe we should just get rid of it. And that's the easy thing to do, just, get rid of it. Let's not have these distractions. But I think that the national anthem means a lot of things to a lot of different people. And of course, kneeling, people always have the argument of, my family and friends fought in the military. They fought and died for this country. And I completely understand that argument. However, what has made things so clear to me is the idea that imagine a person of color fighting for this country and fighting for the freedoms and liberties of this country and coming back to the same country that they fought for, and they're spat on, they're beaten, they're, disrespected in so many ways. Those are the same people that fought for this country, and those are the people that you're standing up for. But the liberties and the freedoms aren't the same. It's not distributed the same across the board. And I think that's the most important message that I can kind of relay to everybody who is struggling with the whole idea of, why do you stand? Why do you kneel? I think you need to really look deep into the idea of how this country was founded on and how people were not treated fairly when they were risking and sacrificing the same things that, people's forefathers and grandfathers have fought for. So I just think, I truly believe it should be played. I think people should have the right to protest during it or not protest during it. And I think it should be something that remains exactly the same.
Crystal, I remember thinking like, I'd love to talk to her right now a couple weeks ago when you issued a powerful, incredible Black Lives Matter statement. And in it, you challenged coaches, journalists of the like. You're an athlete who has played multiple positions. And you said, often while your athleticism has been praised, let's also call that person a smart player. And I took notes on that. So thanks. And I thought to myself, Paul Arriola of DC United, I did a game with him last year, and he has played like 6 positions to secure his spot on the team and prefers forward, but he's also played right back and the whole thing. And I thought to myself, well, as a white male, how did I talk about him? And if I was talking about Crystal Dunn, how would I talk about that? So it was a really powerful message. And then, you go back further to 2016, and the article came out about how Megan Rapinoe told you that she was going to take a knee and nod to Colin Kaepernick's efforts. And you said while you supported her, you thought, okay, well, I can't do that. It's going to look different if a Black girl does it. I'm torn, but I ultimately kind of want to keep my job. How difficult was that to stay quiet? We're talking about something that was 4 years ago. And now, sure, you're a World Cup champion. Like Crystal Dunn is maybe a bigger name than arguably it was 4 years ago. But do you feel more empowered now that you could, no matter what, still kind of take the Megan Rapinoe route? Or how much more is there to go?
Yeah, I mean, I always think about this. 4 years ago, I was 4 years younger. I also wasn't as established on the national team as I am now. And, I saw how Megan was getting treated and what the federation was doing to her to try to, quiet her about the protests. And I thought to myself, if this is happening to Pino, what do you think is going to happen to me? I'm not as established. I'm not a legend of this game. I haven't represented this country as many times as her. And I also thought to myself during that time, I don't have that support that I needed and that confidence that I needed at that time. Of course, I had Pino, who was very strong and about kneeling and protesting, but I didn't have Black athletes or Black teammates at that time to bounce these ideas off of, like, let's talk it out, So I just think 4 years ago, the team looked different. There wasn't as many Black players on it. So I just didn't feel like I had an outlet or I had someone to vent to and talk to about it. So I think now things are so different. People are more educated on the matter. I have many more Black teammates. So I think for us, it's really important that we bounce these ideas off each other and we kind of talk things through. And I think that's the really fortunate thing that I've been a part of on North Carolina, is having 7 Black players to play alongside. And it's really been great. So yeah, 4 years ago, I was definitely in a different place, in a different mindset. And I think about it till this day, how much I wanted to kneel with Pino and how much I've showed her that I support her. And I am so happy that she is fighting for this cause, but right now I think it's my time to encourage others the way Pino has always encouraged others to speak up and fight for things that they truly believe in.
Yeah, you're that person now. You're that role model. It's fantastic.
It's such a seismic moment, I feel like, for the country, for the entire world, really, because we've seen its effect all over the world. So one of the questions that Jill and I have continued to ask of ourselves and of our colleagues and of our white players, our Black players, is, as sports come back, as we start to, sort of get back to what we might consider normal, whatever normal might look like, how do we keep this conversation going? How do we keep it the focal point and not get distracted, and not fall back into old mentalities? What would you like to see happen? What do those conversations look like moving forward?
Yeah, I think it really comes down to obviously continuing the conversation. That's the beginning of it all. And also just putting, all the talk into actual action. I think, as athletes, a lot of the time we're so focused on our jobs, we're focused on, what's right in front of us, the next training, the next practice, the next game. But I think right now what you're seeing a lot is people want to take action. It's not about just talking about racial issues, but it's focusing in their communities on things that they can improve. I think there's a lot of talk about voter suppression. I've been actually really focused on learning the ways of how voting has been poorly distributed and how hard it is for the Black communities to actually find places to vote. So I think it really right now comes down to continuing these conversations, but also finding ways to actually improve your environments. You can't change the whole world. Not one person can do it, but I think it's really about changing your little community. And that's why I really made that post about, just challenging coaches and, the media and also commentators, because I can't change everything. I can't, affect everything. But, as an athlete right now, I want to continue conversations with coaches on how they can encourage young Black players to be well-rounded athletes and not just focus on the stereotypes that the world has already put on them before they even step foot on the field. So I think it's really just focusing on the little changes that you can make, because those turn into actually the biggest change of them all.
Thank you so much for that, Crystal.
That was
Before
awesome.
we let you go, we just want to talk a little bit about you and your life. You mentioned at the top of the show your husband. You're from Long Island, New York. I remember you when I was a little old production assistant at News 12 and saying, Crystal Dunn. You married Frenchman Pierre. Can you pronounce your married name for us?
Yes, Soubrier.
Soubrier. Oh,
I should have. Susannah took French. She would have been Soubrier. And you're officially Crystal Dunn Soubrier, right?
Well, I'm officially Crystal Alicia Soubrier. My middle name is still there. So Dunn is completely gone technically, but this year it's still on my jersey.
It's going to stay on the jersey. Maybe is there going to be a change in the future?
Oh yeah. We saw Morgan Bryant do that.
She's got the new changed her name. Obviously Kalia changed her name.
Yeah.
So I'm thinking about it. I think this year, obviously there was going to be an Olympics. So I was always kind of set on having my name throughout 2020, just because for, changing jerseys and things like that, it was going to be kind of a situation. But I think this year, I just remain Dunn, and we'll see what the future holds.
Okay. I got to get my Dunn jersey then before it turns vintage.
Yeah, get Dunn, because there might not be any more left. So
Okay. You met when you played for the Washington Spirit. He was an athletic trainer. Oh my God, so romantic. We hear he's an excellent cook. I hit up Aaron West and asked him a little bit about your life. Can you just tell us how that romance came to be?
Yeah, I mean, we met in 2015. So one of the most wild years of my life, missing out on the World Cup, kind of feeling, devastated about that, but then also focusing on a new season ahead of me. And we met in that year where I was probably feeling pretty low in life about my whole soccer career. But, you know, he started off being my best friend. We watched the games together. We had really awesome conversations just about, you know, our passions and what we want in the future. And from there, we just kind of were like, wow, like you're my really good friend, but I kind of obviously like you a little bit more than a friend. And we just
and you're cute.
And you're cute, you're okay. But I think what's really great is that, you know, he did start off as a really great person to just talk to. And I think, you know, even till this day, I'm like, he's literally my best friend. And it's just sad he's in the hotel or the bubble with me, and I literally see him from afar and I'm like, hi, how are you?
He is.
Gosh.
Yeah,
Oh my
so
gosh.
he's
So you
here.
can't even.
So
that would
family
be
and friends
torture.
can come, but you can only like wave from afar.
We could still like talk from 6 feet away, but I like obviously yet to hug him, hold his hand or anything like that. We just wave from afar and that's it. But
That's amazing.
It's
Wow.
interesting times.
That's incredible.
But yeah, he's great. He's great. It's always nice to find, you know, your partner in crime, your partner in life. And I think, you know, I encourage everybody, if you know, if you are in a young relationship or you're looking for somebody, I'm like, you have to marry your best friend. Like it is an absolute must. You have to find someone that just, you know, you're just happy sitting on the couch with, you know, all that romance stuff. I'm like, yeah, that comes and goes. But like, are you happy to just watch Netflix and
I'm taking notes, Crystal.
That's it, you know.
Literally jotting all of this down.
Yeah.
You can be my new relationship guru. You're hired. One of the things that Jill and I have been dying to ask you, and she alluded to it before, but okay.
Oh yeah.
World Cup last year. Mm-hmm. I was actually there. I was in Paris for a week. I got to watch your match against Chile. And to this day, this was the most incredible experience of my life. I mean, it was just incredible. You guys win the whole thing. And for, I feel like 2 weeks straight, Crystal, it was a non-stop party. Yes. I mean, we were addicted to all of your Instagrams. I mean, don't even get me started on Ashlyn Harris. Like it was just, I mean, it was the most entertaining thing I've ever seen.
The plane, the parade, like all of it.
What was it really like being amongst that group and experiencing that incredible celebration over that stretch of time?
How'd you survive?
Yeah. I mean, I barely survived. I still to this day do not know how I did it. I mean, I definitely had a migraine for the whole 2 weeks after, and I was just like, okay, let's keep it going. But I mean, yeah, winning a World Cup was incredible. I think for me, it meant a lot. You know, like I said, missing out in 2015, I really think when the final whistle blew, I thought about all those years of just preparation and preparing to be in this moment. So, you know, after that whistle blew, I was like, yes, we did it. I made it, you know, I accomplished what I wanted to do. And then the partying started. And I was like, oh my goodness, how am I going to survive from one day to another? And it's incredible. You know, it was so nice that parade was just for us, and all those people,
we were there,
you know, waving out of their windows. You guys were there? Oh my God.
We were waving frantically.
It was incredible. It was incredible. We really felt like, you know, royalty. We're just like riding around, everyone's waving and, just showing their appreciation and just seeing how many people we've inspired was an incredible moment, you know? And then of course, the same day we get on a flight, we fly to LA, we go to the ESPYs, and I'm like, how am I in a different state across the world, like the country? Like I couldn't wrap my head around it, but it was incredible. You know, I can't even find the words to really explain how happy I was in that moment, just sharing it with those girls who we've gone through so much to get to that moment, you know. But it's just interesting because I had a season to still finish out that same year. So it was kind of like win a World Cup on a Sunday, and then you're like back in market 10 days later. So you were kind of like, wait, did I just win a World Cup? Or like, I can't remember. I don't know. But
back to work.
So 2019 was busy, but it was an awesome year that I will like never, ever forget.
You mentioned those girls being so special to you. And before we let you go, something we like to do with some of our big names is just run through kind of like a senior superlatives with you of kind of who would get what award on your team. It's just rapid fire. First name that comes to mind. We'll keep this one real easy. Who is on the U.S. women's national team the biggest bookworm?
Bookworm. Rose Lavelle. She has a different book like every day, every training. I'm like, wait, didn't you just read this book? Like, yes, Rose Lavelle.
Finish a book.
Amazing. Okay, who's the class clown?
Class clown, Emily Sonnet.
Troublemaker.
Ooh, troublemaker, Emily Sonnet.
Who's the best roommate?
Best roommate. Oh, Julie Ertz, my best friend, obviously. Oh. Yes.
Is there anything not to love about Julie Ertz?
I know.
Love her. Love her.
Who would be, because maybe you haven't roomed with this person, who would be the worst roommate?
Oh, worst roommate. I honestly don't know, but I can describe what a worst roommate would be to me. Someone who stays up crazy hours of the night and just like is watching movies and shows or videos without their headphones in. And I'd be like, come on now, put the headphones in, let's go.
Turn it down. Who plans the parties?
Who plans the parties?
Who's like, all right, guys, let's go.
I mean, probably like a Megan Rapinoe for sure. Like she'd be sense. Like, yeah, like if we're gonna do it, let's do it. Let's plan it out. Let's make it happen. Yes.
I mean, I think this is you, but the best dancer?
Right here. You're interviewing her. She's right here. Don't you worry about that.
Obviously. What music are you listening to right now that like gets you going?
Goodness gracious. I listen to everything under the sun. Like I love all genres, all types of music. I'm a huge Drake fan just because like Drake is one of those artists that you're like, if you're sad, you could play Drake. If you're trying to be hyped, you could play Drake. If you're like just mellow, but like you want to kind of have a little beat to it, you can play Drake. So he's just the all time, play him all the time.
Crystal, this was so much fun. We have to wish you a happy birthday.
Yes, happy birthday.
On Friday, July 3rd.
My fellow years old, and I'm
Crystal Dunn,
spending birthdays with my teammates.
And your husband from 6 feet away. I mean, what could be better?
Exactly.
Oh man, this was just such an honor, Crystal. We can't thank you enough for your time. We wish you all the best in the tournament. We're not listening to Allie Krieger. We don't
listen to her. Yeah, no.
Go Courage, baby.
Time now.
Go Courage, baby.
Sorry, Allie.
Stay safe.
Thank you, ladies.
Stay safe.
We thank Crystal Dunn so much. But next week, we've got another big name coming on. We're not going to tell you who, but it's the MLS is Back Tournament Media Day. So all of the big names will kind of be stopping by the booths, and we'll be talking to them virtually. So stay tuned for that. It will be our call-up episode, MLS is Back kickoff party, Suze. And you know what? I haven't had a drink on this show. So
I know.
I'm going to mark on my calendar. I'm having some kind of drink for that.
Let's
I mean, media
point.
drinks, it's like, and that's appropriate. Totally fine.
Guess what? Here for that. All day. All day. Guys, thank you so much for listening and watching. This has been so much fun. Go get your Crystal Dunn jerseys now before she changes her name.